Far out. I look so weird. Exhausted. Pardon me, just by walking into the kitchen and back, exhausted. I feel like a robot. I kind of look like one. My teeth are nice and yellow in the morning. I have my cornflakes. I have my Milo. Chocolatey drink made with cardboard. I managed to spill all my Milo on the floor. I was sitting away from it, and then I thought, why not flick it with my little finger? Bet you nothing will happen. Big mistake. Because it was in this great big, this kind of shape, U-shaped, very tall plastic container surrounded by metal to absorb the heat, dissipate it away. So, good morning. This is the ugly fella with some kind of zit. Not sure why that's there. I was always under attack yesterday from bugs and stuff. And calcium excretes next to my nose. And in weird places, 3 weird places. Bing, bong, bung. How am I? As good as anyone can be at this age. I've been chipped, so I'm turning white now. I'm on the alpha flip side. So before I wasn't collapsing and magnetizing and attracting people to me. But now I am repelling. I'm sure you can understand what that means. I'm like a shining star, but the electrons are very detrimental. Watch out, if you drink distilled water, you'll live. But if you have iron 40% water, your electrons will go all the way to your head and scare away a lot of your hair. Because it will try to come out the top as a plasmatic field type of thing. You can't see any plasmas because it's magnetism. It's switched. My bum used to be this bald, a bit hairy, but now my head is. And the crazy thing is, my belly is hairy. It wasn't like that before. So the food gets all the way down there, won't digest. That means lack of hydrochloric acid. And behind me is a cabinet and a bed and a vacuum hose, which is got my vacuum down below behind my chair. I have a sheet over my chair because when I got it, it was waxy, very waxed, protection layer of wax. I was thinking of pouring a boiling jug on, but once you wash the stuff off, then you get stuck with the suede, because it's made out of suede, or leather, I don't know which one. Looks more like suede to me. If you look over there, there's my couch, which has a middle one that can be pulled out. I unscrewed it, and it became pull-apartable. So you'll have to excuse my crazy brain, because it accepts just about anything and hears it as reasonable. So, not too long ago, maybe only 2 weeks ago, my landlord expected me to clean my flat because I showed her the windows that had sodium hydroxide damage, drain cleaner damage, because I never expected it to boil over and end up dissolving the paint. So, It's just a fact of life, I guess. What happens is there's this almost, it's a name that they made up, orbitally rearranged monatomic, whatever US stands for. Okay. Unitary structures, we'll just call it that. Whatever all it is you put a sodium hydroxide in with seawater salt, and all the stuff, which is usually poop or fucking slug shit or some kind of algae or baby krill, micromonatomic creatures, they all are in there, so you have to filter it to get them out. But some people don't. They just want to eat that too, because you've got to eat it. So you've got to get rid of the sodium hydroxide by washing it out. So the answer is filter it out, cook it so it kills the little monatomic creatures. Little creatures. We've got to have something to eat, right? Well, no, it's meant that we're supposed to get these royal materials that are in there. You don't want any plutonium or any nuclear matter, right? Well, how are we going to know? We're going to have to use a microscope to have a look. And, I don't know, but they are supposed to have this material that when you find sodium salt on a paddock and it's gone brown, you pick it up and you chuck it. It blows up when it hits something and disintegrates. That's a proper monatomic. What happened was a farmer put hydrochloric acid all over his paddock because they were throwing it away and there was too much salt and he wanted to dissolve that salt away. But what he didn't count on was a byproduct, and that being what they called ORMES, ORMES. There's an E in there for some reason, because it's a type of energy condensed into matter. And so people started wanting to get that force of powerful matter, consume it, find a way to break it down to a very small, absorbable, usable content, and put it in with your plants and see if it'll grow bigger, doubles in size. Find a way to detect what it is. So they used a couple of electrodes next to a detector to find out what kind of metals it might have. Turned out that they tried to say that it was something weird like sand. They tried to pass it off as sand. They tried to do all kinds of crazy shit. It's supposed to be able to be cooked and it will not be destroyed. And when you heat it, it will levitate. But the weird thing is you got to set up these conditions with very high, 11.78 on the pH. So you have to raise the pH, which is something you got to do with a pH meter. These ones were $100. I've used these cheaper $10 ones. They're not a lot of difference, but the other one's more accurate, got more digits, so you can get the 78 part. Me personally, I've got it up to 10.5, and that's fine for me. If you get it over into the higher numbers, like 12 or 14, you're crazy, because you get Gilchrist dangerous matter. You're a real numbnuts. I wouldn't bother with risky dangerous. Risk to your health. So sodium hydroxide, if consumed, very bad. It melts you on the inside. It could kill you. So you've got to use it, a food grade version, and then you've got to wash it out. And one test, put your hands in the solution, take it out, and it's melting and your skin's like peeling off and it's going bright pink or bright red. Not a good thing to do. So what you do is you count how many rinses you've done, right? And rinses means pouring in lots of water and letting the solids settle to the bottom, and then decanting off all the other waters, including sodium hydroxide waters. Keep the solids, chuck in new water, let it settle again, and then decant again, and put new water in, let it settle, decant, it's pouring off the top clear liquids, let it settle it 7 times, there won't be any sodium hydroxide. But I told this lady, settle it 3 times, not all in one go. You got to let it settle, means put it down, let the stuff settle down. Could take an hour. Wait till it's looking clear, because if it looks cloudy and you tip it off, you're tipping out the goodness. So just don't count how long. Come back to it in an hour and see if it looks clear. That's called settle. Alright? Do that and you'll know what's in there. Wash it with water, try to boil it to get the other crap to evaporate. Crush it real fine, powder in a blender and a coffee grinder. But before you do, microscope it to check if there's any little microskeletons, which would be real cool to see. Electron microscope it if you want, that would be brilliant. Electron microscope is basically just the same as 2 electrodes zapping it, and a really powerful microscope looking at them. What you do is you try to make a television type of display where all the electrons that come upwards become visible. So you might have to put phosphor in there or something crazy, like how the TV people do, and make it register. But that's getting way down on the molecular. Most people don't have half a brain or can't be stuffed. I haven't got half a brain and can't be stuffed at the same time. So one good way is to use the XRF. It's an X-ray, plus it's a photonic, and it has a detector on it. It tells you what metals. You got to find out what is in the sea. Is it being filled with laundry powder that's heavy metal? Got heavy metal in it? What is going on with me? Why am I going bald? My beard is ungrounded. It is grounded slightly to the walls and to everything. And the landlord tells me, pull it away from the wall, so it won't get damp and moulds and stuff won't form. Well, I did do that, but I still touch the curtain every now and then, and I actually need to be quite close to that big window because it's big metal frame. And when you touch something, a big metal frame that's grounded to the house, it's a big grounding. When you get over 40 and you get pacemakered, you got to make sure that you're grounded or you'll go grey. But you're going grey not because of grounding. There is a contributing factor. The reason why is because we're going diamagnetic. See, as a living person, you're just nice and grounded and absorbing. But we become non-absorbing but outputting. If you output electrons, you're just like a big plastic bottle being destroyed, like a living thing being destroyed. But what can you do? It's just another form of life. My face is tired, so that's me.